The National Commission for Bilingualism and Multiculturalism today begins a 10-day regional tour across the country with the aim of fostering the practice and effectiveness of bilingualism in Cameroon.
Bilingualism is a good thing, and I love the way it's being encouraged in Cameroon. I think the way the government is handling the bilingualism system in Cameroon is practically perfect.
Out of the country, France finally announces its total departure from Niger. And in sports, Fovu of Baham are the new champions of Cameroon. This after grabbing the trophy yesterday, beating PWD of Bamenda 2-0. Details on these and more right ahead. Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to the 2 p.m. news on 88.4 Royal FM. As you heard in one of our lead stories, the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism today begin a working visit to the 10 regions of the country. This tour has been ordered by the president of the Bilingualism and Multiculturalism Commission, Peter Mafani Musonge, with the aim to touch the realities of bilingualism throughout the Republic of Cameroon. Now, just what do Cameroonians think about the practice of the two official languages in their country? Our student journalist Brenda Lumto questions some of them and now reports.
The practice of bilingualism has not been respected in Cameroon, as Sophie attests that most of the population in Cameroon are francophones. She says,
bilingualism is not practiced. Cameroon has been trying to adjust bilingualism by making it possible for many industries to have people who come from both sides, try to do regional balance and bring in people that come from both the Anglo-Saxon zone and the French zone. But if you want to make an adequate perception, francophones are more, and even when you want to do things in the town, certain towns are mostly anglophones and others are purely francophones.
More still, other equally says that some Cameroonians prefer to focus themselves on their maternal tongue where they originate. Ndukum expresses.
Bilingualism in Cameroon, for me, I think is practiced only by a minority, because the majority population, they focus maybe on his dialect, that is to identify his or himself from where he's coming from. So bilingualism in Cameroon is practiced just by the minority.
On the contrary, some attest that bilingualism has been practiced in Cameroon and must be encouraged.
I think bilingualism in Cameroon is perfect. We should not expect much of people. Seriously. I think the way the government is handling the bilingualism system in Cameroon is practically perfect. You see, both in the English section of school and the French section of school, children do learn English, they do learn French. They have even given a whole bilingualism day. So for me, bilingualism is practiced in Cameroon.
Nevertheless, the president of the Bilingualism and Culturalism Commission will make a regional tour to ensure the practicing of bilingualism in all regions of the world.
Tourism officials in the Northwest region have indicated that over 14,000 tourists visited the region in 2022 and are attributing this increase to the relative calm experienced in the region recently. The officials, however, explained that despite the rich flora and fauna and an outstanding cultural heritage of the region, the Northwest has incurred huge socio-economic losses due to the crisis. Livestock and fishery entrepreneurs in the littoral region have sharpened their skills on best methods to boost the sector. This was during a workshop by the Livestock and Fisheries Farming Chain Development Project with the expertise of the International Labour Organization, partner of that project. We talk some education in this edition of the news. Pupils and students usually face a lot of difficulties in understanding and doing their lessons at home. Parents, however, have different ways in which they help their children retain lessons. Just what is the best method to help these children retain and understand their lessons back at home? Anne Gua caught up with a pedagogue and compiled this report.
Most parents in Cameroon are said to use both the harsh and soft methods when assisting their children retain their lessons at home. Some go to the extent of beating their children with the aim of disciplining them to better understand their lessons. Richard Bitomo, a pedagogue, says,
Parents can have the habit of constantly cross-checking what the child has done in school on a particular day and try to see if the student picks up from what he or she has done in school. Most parents nowadays are very busy that they could not actually handle that task. That is why they always go in for home teachers to assist them in that task. The home teacher's role here is simply to just try to make sure that the student or the pupil understand what was done in class on that day or for that week.
According to him, it is rather needless using the harsh method when helping students with their lessons.
Beating up a child using harsh methods is never the best method for education. Though at a certain point it might be necessary, but it's not really the best method. You need to grow up your child with caution and proper follow-up. I think the best method relies on constant communication with your child and constant follow-up.
He further gives some consequences that may affect children if parents use the bad methods when helping these children retain their lessons.
This could have a psychological damage on the child because the child may be saying that that's the only way for him to understand the course, and it will get to a certain point where the hard methods will mean nothing to the child. That psychologically destroy the child. And at that point, you as a parent, you lose the child for good. So it should not be a practice that should be really begun by parents.
Hence, encourage parents on the different techniques to use on these children.
Free to choose whether to migrate or to stay is the theme under which the world celebrated World Day of Migrants and Refugees yesterday. Just how does the church attend to this category of persons?
What we do in church usually is that we come up with fundraising to assist them financially. For those that we have discovered that cannot be able to pay their school fees for children, we are able to raise funds to sponsor to help assist them in paying their fees.
Today is World Pharmacist Day, commemorated this year on the theme of Pharmacists Strengthening Health System. World Pharmacist Day was set aside to honor the contribution of pharmacists to enhance world health. The day also aims at supporting initiatives that highlight and defend the contributions that pharmacists make to global health improvement, as well as acknowledging and encouraging the vital role they play in healthcare chain. Cultivate Dreams is the theme under which Cameroon joins the world over to celebrate World Dream Day. It is a day when people around the world declare, share, celebrate, and activate their dreams. This day equally portrays a powerful reminder that all have the ability to make positive changes in our lives and in the world through achieving our dreams. On to one of our late stories. Cameroon yesterday joined other nations across the world to celebrate World Day of Migrants and Refugees. Observed under the theme Free to Choose Whether to Migrate or to Stay, the day is an opportunity to learn more about refugees and migrants on the move, to pray for them as a community, and work together for positive change. Looking at the growing number of migrants and refugees across the world, what are the things the church is doing in order to assist refugees and migrants? Fringwe Crispin spoke with a man of God and compiled this report.
The church has a lot of missions on earth, one of which is accommodating homeless people. This according to Pastor Tita David of the Full Gospel Mission.
In the Bible, God instructed his children to care for the foreigners, the strangers, because they were first of all strangers in a foreign land. Israelites, before moving to the promised land, they were first of all strangers in Egypt. So God gave specific instructions to his children to care for the foreigners, for the strangers.
And when questioned on whether or not Christians still hold that value of assisting others without expecting something in return, the man of God attests,
Today, believers, Christians, members of the church, they give, not with the expectation that those to whom they have given to will be able to pay them in return, but they give with the hope and the expectation in the word of God, because God has given that recommendation that when we give, it shall be given back unto us. The same measure we measure, that is the same measure will be used to give to us. So they give in that light, in that hope.
With the ongoing socio-political crisis in Cameroon, thousands of people have been displaced internally, a situation that has not left Christians indifferent, as Pastor Tita David explains.
What we are trying to do with the internally displaced because of the ongoing situation in the country is that for those that we have discovered that cannot be able to pay their school fees for children, we are able to raise funds to sponsor, to help assist them in paying their fees and maybe buying a school necessity like textbooks, exercise books, and bags and uniforms. Also, the church is trying to help others by giving them fundings to set up a business for those who are in need.
According to the UN, every year thousands of migrants and refugees lost their lives due to wars, natural disaster, and the desire for greener pasture.
We talk politics. The Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPDM party, is on, or rather has organized a regional tour which aims at training party militants to succession and also better prepare for the 2025 presidential elections. The regional tour was organized last September the 21st, 2023. Now, with some political analysts, Evans Williams Jobati sought to know the future of politics within the party. He compiled this report.
The national exercise, which took place at the Angola Hall here in Yaoundé, was presided over by the party's Secretary General of the Central Committee, Jean Kwete, was aimed at preparing the 2025 presidential elections as well as successions within and out of the party. Speaking to Alban Soeba, who makes us to understand that the party is the most organized movement in the country.
The CPDM is a political party that is well organized and well structured, because with the means that they have been able to install themselves in every part of the country. In every subdivision, there is always basic organ of the CPDM there. So they have the finances to be able to install themselves everywhere in the national territory.
To Herman Fuda, he sees that as the base of every elections in a country.
So what the CPDM is doing is just in the bid to prepare themselves for eventual elections, because normally in every political formation or political parties, they need to be renewing their various boards, their various bureaus. Normally this is just to show that democracy starts from the base. So within the party, they need to do that in order to show that they will be ready for any eventual elections.
On side of succession, our political experts say it is but normal to see the party declare victory in upcoming elections for the fact that they dominate politics in Cameroon.
The speech of what Jean Kwete said is just in the political domain, because what he's saying is just about politics. Is that is politics. Every party going to a campaign will always go with the certitude to ensure them that the victory is coming.
The actual head of state, President Paul Biya, who is the president, national president of the CPDM, is still the candidate, or is probably going to be the candidate for the 2025 presidential elections. That's what we assume.
As such, all come into an accord that the CPDM has all what it takes to get enough support while thinking of the 2025 presidential elections.
Out of Cameroon, the French President Emmanuel Macron has announced a total withdrawal of its ambassador from Niger and the French military contingent in the coming months following the July coup that overthrew the democratically elected President Mohamed Bazoum. The president made the announcement yesterday through French state media. Now, just how will this move from France permit Niger revamp its economic sector? Eratus Ndoué seeks a response to that question with an economist in this report.
The decision by the French President Emmanuel Macron to pull out and cease cooperation with Niger on Sunday through the state media France 24 was as a result of the stubbornness of Niger, who overpowered the pro-Paris President Mohamed Bazoum on July 25th, a decision that is salutary by the entire Niger military leaders and Chene Constantin, an economic who thinks that it is as a step towards Niger's sovereignty.
It is going to save a lot of money for the Nigerian government. They are going to make more money from their uranium. They are going to make more money from their gold. The greatest advantage is that if they cancel all the agreements between France and Niger, then they will benefit a lot more because all African countries that are former French colonies that are related to the Franc zone have to deposit 50% of their reserves with the French sovereign. So when you export their resources, like Niger was exporting gold and uranium, 50% of that money will remain in France and only 50% will be paid to the government. All this money now will be used to develop the country.
On his part, Kuchu, another economist, says the fact that France is pulling out from Niger would not mean that things will be better for Nigerian economy because the government still have some reforms to do before they can boast of their natural resources or riches, uranium, diamond, amongst others.
For that to happen, the government should implement strong reform. For example, should strengthen the fight against corruption so that export revenue from uranium can be used to invest in infrastructure, building highways. Also, competition within key sector of the economy can be increased. The government should also implement reform in the education sector. The government should also implement reform in the healthcare sector.
And when asked if Niger is physically apt to be auto-reliant, our experts share diverse views.
To auto-rely at the moment, I don't think so. For that to happen, the country just need to do one thing: invest heavily on quality education and research and innovation.
Niger will one day be self-reliant. If they sell their uranium at 137,000 francs a kilogram, sell their gold at the world market price, if the Americans can pay them well for their pipeline, if the Chinese can construct all their dams, then Niger will become a wonderful country in just a few years.
Inasmuch as the former French colonies are bent in coup d'etat these days as a result of total independence, the decision by the president will equally take effect at the end of this year, 2023.
And still on our foreign page, a fire that broke out at Nigeria's Supreme Court today has reached a justice's office, part of the Supreme Court located in the capital Abuja and close to the presidential villa, and the National Assembly went into flames during the early hours of today. According to the Emergency Management Agency in Abuja, there were no human casualties at Nigeria's highest court, while preliminary reports suggest that the fire was caused by an electric fault. Fighting has continued to be reported in Ethiopia's restive Amara region between government troops and local militia, with the historic city of Gonda seeing heavy urban combat on Sunday. Local militia known as the Fano entered the city, one of the largest in the region, prompting intense clashes with the army. Fighting is also reported in multiple other places throughout the region, with activists and media outlets linked to the militia claiming to have gained control of some areas and capturing dozens of soldiers. Meantime, the Ethiopian Defense Ministry, for their part, say they thwarted militia attacks, killing more than 50 of them. The U.S. is days away from its 22nd government shutdown in 50 years. The deadline for Congress to pass a new budget to keep funding government agencies is midnight on Saturday, and without a deal, some key departments will no longer operate. If agreement is not reached by the start of the American fiscal year on October 1, then there is a shutdown where all known essential discretionary functions are discontinued. The last shutdown in the United States of America was in 2019 and was the longest in American history, which lasted 36 days when Donald Trump was president. Let's come back to Top Sports. Biwa Brian, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, MAPALAH ZITA.
Brian, the 62nd edition of the Cameroon Cup took steam yesterday at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium. The event, which marked the end of the 2022-2023 sporting season in Cameroon, was filled with people of different caliber.
Present at the colorful and nail-biting cup finals was the Prime Minister Joseph John Gote, Minister of Sports and Physical Education Professor Narcisse Molekombi, President of FECAFOOD Samuel Etofis, and many other government officials who ensured the ceremony was a success. Talking after the events was Dr. Joseph John Gote, Prime Minister, who was satisfied with the delivery during the Cameroon Cup finals. Take a listen.
First of all, I would like to express my thanks to the President of the Republic, President Paul Biya, for enabling me to represent him here today at this wonderful ceremony. It was a very beautiful final, very animated, and my thanks go, of course, to the Minister of Sports and Physical Education and to FECAFOOT President and the teams that have very ably organized this event. It's been wonderful.
At the other end were traditional rulers from the Northwest and West region, including fans from far and near who came to activate the 12-man theory at the stadium.
Brian still in the Cameroon Cup, pitting two teams from the grassfield. Fovu Club of Baham clinched their third cup title at the expense of PWD of Bamenda.
The 2023 Cameroon Cup final saw 2021 champions take on 2010 champions Fovu Club of Baham. Staged at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium, the both teams set out to decide the 62nd winner of the Cameroon Cup as their prime objective. The dream was, however, Fovu Club of Baham's dream, as PWD as it was a nightmare to PWD of Bamenda. The Abakwa boys lost to Fovu Club of Baham 2-0 after a 2-0 spanking that came over 70 minutes of play. Mbappe Mulna walked past two defenders plus PWD's goalkeeper Ningche to find the back of the net at 10 minutes of play. The Abakwa boys struggled to bring the game at level terms, but all their efforts, however, were futile as a costly defensive error from PWD of Bamenda gave Fovu Club of Baham a free kick £2 on a goal. While watching the match, Awasung Jr. took note of PWD's wrongs and outlined them. Take a listen.
The performance that I saw from PWD is not the PWD that we saw at the finals here last time. And this is due to the fact that it stemmed from many factors: management, technical level, and then the mind state of the players. You could tell that they lose some pretty good players that could not actually, that were backbones of the team. And you saw their absence today, already played a very, very major role in PWD losing today. I'm talking about guys like Etabawa that I was expecting to see. I did not see them. Then when you look at the style of play, there's a lack of coherence in their game. It's as if PWD just constituted the team to come and play the Cup of Cameroon, and their real players are not there. Even the goalkeeper, I know he's not the main goalkeeper for PWD. This is not the PWD team we used to see. The transfer window did not only have an effect on them, but the transfer window actually cost them this game, because you have to be strategic when you are transferring players. You cannot have a competition like this one where you are playing the finals. You have to realize the stakes.
As moments of joy sparked in Fuvu's side, sadness got to its peak as PWD fans cried out. Having joined the team shortly after Fuvu had qualified for the finals, Emmanuel Ndumbeboso was very skeptical about winning the finals after losing the 61st edition to Bambutus of Buda.
You know, it was not an easy task because I know players of PWD. So what I want to say is that I just take advantage tactically and psychologically. Physically, they were very high, too much strong than we. You saw it on the pitch. But the problem was tactically and the end of their offensives. So this is what we work on. I can tell you, we have only 3 weeks really to work as you see today. So we are going to maintain working and try to be good, better than what we present today.
With the end of the Cameroon Cup finals, it is now official light out to the 2023-2024 sports season in Cameroon.
And the 2023 Champion Cup finals, which was spiced by several activities, equally received a boost from telecommunications companies like MTN.
Giant mobile telephone network providers, popularly referred to as MTN, was a key element of the Cameroon Cup finals. As one of the main sponsors of the event, the regular promoter of sport in Cameroon, MTN, played a crucial role in giving the Cameroon Cup the credit it deserved. Prior to the start of the Cameroon Cup, MTN sent SMS messages to all MTN users announcing the date and time plus venue of the events. Without limiting themselves to just pre-preparations, the network providers beautified the events with banners, roll-ups, and even prizes. Take a listen to Claudel Young, an MTN agent who was present during the event.
As you can see from the entrance of the stadium to the stadium itself is very present. We've been present through our activation with our supporters outside. We're present within the game throughout the matches. We've been giving prizes to our supporter online, and also, as you can see, we've just prized the men of the match as well.
And away from the Cameroon Cup, Brian, the 2023-2024 football season in Cameroon is around the corner as the draws for the Elite One Championship is set.
The 2023-2024 Elite One season is set to take steam as the draws for the championship were conducted over the weekend. In the presence of club presidents, FECAFOOT officials and media practitioners, the 19 participating teams were paired in two pools of 10 and 9 teams. In Pool A, AS Fortuna Kanong of Yaoundé, Dynamo of Douala, Le Astre, Union Sportive of Douala, Gazelle Football Club, PWD of Bamenda, Aigle de la Menoa, Bamboutus of Bouda, and Colombe Sportive. In Pool B, Apajes of Feuve Azul, Stade Renat of Melong, Avion Academy, USM of Loum, Young Sports Academy, Victoria United, Cameroon Cup winners Fufu Club of Baham, and defending champions Kotong Sports of Garoua. With the draws known, the opening match will be played between newcomers Victoria United and Feuve Azul at the Military Stadium on Wednesday 27th. Meanwhile, at the end of the 2023-2024 Elite One season, the top 2 of each group would advance to the playoffs, while 5 teams will be relegated to the Elite 2 Championship.
Well, I think it's going to be a strong pairing whatsoever. The teams that have showed up because of the transfer window and the business that has been done. Big money spenders like Dynamo Football Club, newbies like Victoria United are coming up powerfully, especially from the friendlies we've watched. And so I do think all 19 teams that will take part the Elite One Championship this year are very serious teams, and so I'm expecting lovely football just like last season, and 5 teams are going to go down. The Elite One is trying to find a balance, strike a balance where we can move back to 16 clubs, so it's going to be really competitive.
Giovanni Wane ending that report there from Biwa, Brian. Time for me to welcome Florent Goyamp into the studio for a summary of this newscast in the French language. Bon après-midi, Flora.
Bon après-midi, MAPALAH ZITA. Les membres de la Commission nationale pour la promotion du bilinguisme et du multiculturalisme ont entamé ce lundi des descentes dans les entreprises publiques de l'État. L'objectif ici est d'évaluer l'implémentation des langues officielles nationales, à savoir le français et l'anglais, dans ces différents services et structures étatiques. Célébration des pharmaciens ce lundi 25 septembre 2023 à la faveur de la journée mondiale à eux dédiée, portée à l'initiative de la Fédération internationale de ce corps de métier. Ce moment met en exergue ces professionnels de la santé, souvent tapis dans l'ombre. Le pharmacien renforce les systèmes de santé. C'est le thème 2023 de la Journée mondiale des pharmaciens. À l'étranger Niger, le président français Emmanuel Macron a annoncé hier dimanche le retour dans les prochaines heures de l'ambassadeur français à Niamey. Il a par ailleurs